I get a lot of messages from people sharing with me some advices that they've received, asking if it is true or not. The funny thing is usually they are wrong. And also I just wonder who comes up with these advices and why. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a couple of wrong data science advice that I've seen, and I will try to correct them. Let's get into it. The first one is you need to become a data analyst first before becoming a data scientist. That's absolutely wrong. See, this is so far from the truth, and I think that it's an insult really to the data analyst career track, which I think is a great one as well, really. I have friends who are data analysts and are doing amazing at their jobs, and their company absolutely needs them, and they're not thinking about becoming a data scientist for whatever reason. Maybe we should talk about what is the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist. A data analyst would take data and explain data with tools like SQL, Power BI, Tableau, Looker Studio, and they will build very beautiful dashboards and really explain to you with your data what is the situation of your business, of your company, of the process you've given them to explain, or the data you've given them. And they will really explain to you with a story, trying to pick the picture. Okay, your prices are falling because of this reason, and there's a correlation between this and this, and with their story you can really know if you're doing things right or wrong on what is the problem with your data. Now, the data analyst job is very important in the business, as you can see. In fact, depending on where you work, you might even be required to do some machine learning. But before we come to that, what is a data scientist? As for a data scientist, their work revolves more around doing more predictive analytics. It could be building models. So your data scientist is trying to take your data, trying to say, okay, because of all of the things that have happened in the past, this is what is most likely to happen in the future. So you see that the data scientist is really different from the data analyst. Now, I already talked about the tools a data analyst would need, which are SQL, Power BI, Tableau. For a data scientist will be required to do a lot more programming, and when they do more programming and also as well statistics, which is also something a data analyst will be required to know anyway, machine learning, and probably also deep learning, depending on the company they work. I understand that people say this thing about becoming a data analyst first to try and then becoming a data scientist later, probably because of the pay of a data scientist might be in some cases higher. I'm not saying in all cases. In some cases maybe higher than a data analyst, but I know a lot of data analysts who are well paid and they're doing amazing in their career. So I think the first thing is not to get into the field with the thought that, okay, I want to become a data analyst, thinking that a data analyst career track has a low barrier of entry and then you can get in there and get yourself promoted to becoming a data scientist. Absolutely, if you want to change careers tracks, of course you're free to do that if you really do enjoy it. But I think coming into the field thinking data analysis is easy and I'm going to get in from there and then I'm going to move into data science is actually wrong. I became a data scientist, went to a data science bootcamp, never was a data analyst, and I think I'm doing fine and I enjoy myself. So if you want to become a data scientist, just learn data science, learn the principles, get into the field as a data scientist, and I think you'll be much more happier than first of all becoming a data analyst, and while you're on the field you're not happy because your end goal is to becoming a data scientist in the future. Now, the second thing, the advice that I've seen people give, which is absolutely wrong, is, oh, I don't have a mathematics, so I don't have a statistics background, so I won't get hired. I've said this again and again on this channel if you've been following me for some time, and I've seen that this actually just draws people back. So I teach data science and I see that sometimes when I'm in a class I speak with students, and when you find someone who doesn't have a mathematics background, they just feel like, oh, they're never going to cope or catch up, they're never going to cope with the class, and you already see that that's already putting them in a sort of cage which doesn't make them to flourish as well. So the truth is, as long as you can learn the mathematics and the statistics behind the whole data science, you can also be great. Maybe I'm not the best person to talk about this because I have a mathematics background, but truth is I have a lot of friends who don't have mathematics background, some of them biological background. Some of my classmates when I was even in my data science bootcamp did not have a mathematics background, and now when I look at what they're doing amazing well for themselves. And one of the other things I've also heard people say is, oh, I need to have a master's or a PhD. I think generally that's not true. While I understand that for some companies or some HR who come up with job descriptions, they are really trying to be safe because they don't know the right thing to put together for people to join their business. Basically, they want the job description to be as tough as possible so that they can be sure they are getting the right person in. But you necessarily don't have to have a master's. I have friends who don't have master's degree and they're data scientists. They're doing amazing well. I don't have a PhD. I'm also a data scientist, and I think I'm okay for myself as well. So don't get discouraged if you don't have a mathematics background or you don't have a master's or a PhD. You can learn all of these things and you can simply just be a data scientist as long as you can master that as well. So yeah, just feel free, learn all the basics, and you're good to go. The third thing that I've also heard people say that I think it's not true about data science is, oh, AI is going to take over, so don't learn data science. And I think that's simply not true. In fact, if you look at the trajectory of things, you will see that that's actually very wrong advice. I have a video here where I talked about, oh, before you give up on data science, watch this. And I shared in this video about this. I understand that this is a real fear for people that you see, while AI would change the outlook of jobs, I really do believe that it won't take away data jobs. We would continue to need data analysts, we will continue to need data scientists, we'll continue to need data engineers to maintain many of these AI apps that we're building and AI models that we're building. Jobs will be rebranded as we are seeing right now, but they will simply not go away. For example, the data scientist career is now being rebranded as the AI engineer, and we would have a lot of that, but they would really not go away. And the fact that we also live in a day and age where data is being generated at an exponential rate also means that we would need a lot of hands to make sense of all of these things. And you see also that more and more companies are also now getting into the data game. They are also trying to be data driven. For example, in this video up here, I shared about how data is now transforming the football industry, and we see a lot more football clubs trying to be more data driven. And so you will see that the data jobs will just simply not vanish. And then many forecasts from companies and leading teams actually showing us that there's going to be more and more need for data scientists and data analysts and data engineers in the future. So AI won't simply take away data jobs, in my opinion. The fourth thing I've seen people do as an advice that they received, and I think it's not a good one, is they simply jump on generative AI and they leave the fundamentals. You see, I can't overemphasize the importance of learning the fundamentals. When you do, you simply make it possible for you to learn more. In a field like data science that is always changing, going deep before going wide will save you a lot of stress and make you better. Also, don't just think that data science is all about deep learning and LLMs. Of course, that's a part of it, and it has the hype right now, and I really do understand. But sincerely, there are so many companies doing amazing stuff with just traditional machine learning, and it's okay if that's what you want to do. If you want to do LLM, that's simply just the only thing you want to do. But just stating that, you should understand that that's not the only option, and maybe also your spread and your company of work possibilities also reduces if you limit yourself to just say, okay, I really want to focus on LLMs and generative AI. In fact, you may find that not so many companies are actively building with LLMs and generative AI and the like. So jumping just on generative AI and leaving the fundamentals would not do you a lot of good. In fact, you actually find that you probably don't even understand a lot of things in generative AI if you don't understand the simple concepts of linear algebra, optimization, and the likes. The worst fifth advice that I've seen people just share about or shared with me is, I see a lot of people who join data science now undermining the power of communication. I would say that this was a mistake maybe that I made earlier on in my career, or that I didn't know. And I think a lot of data science courses also don't teach because we've just not seen it. But the truth is, the data analyst or the data scientist role is just not computer facing, it's people facing. This is something a lot of people don't know. I understand if you're an introvert, but you need to be ready to explain your results. You need to be able to explain your dashboard to your stakeholders. You need to be able to use your machine learning model and your dashboards to be able to take the company in the direction they want to go. So this will really involve you explaining your data, telling them these are the likely causes of a problem, or this is the way to success. And I think this is really one thing that gets people promoted in the data world, or helping them to, you know, stand out. And this is a big difference between what is a good data scientist and a great data scientist, in my opinion. So you can't just write codes and say, okay, yeah, this is my code, I'm a data scientist, I'm just paid to do all of this, build machine learning models that are 99% correct, ship it and say, okay, now I'm done. Often you will need to guide your colleagues along using the data in the right way, using the machine learning model, the result, the predictions in the right way, and then you can really bring value and solve business problems with the company or with your colleagues that you work with. In my last 5 years of experience, I've found that there are many data science courses out there that just don't do justice in explaining all that is really needed for the data science role. In this video here, I shared about 5 things that data science courses don't teach you, but they are very important. Make sure you check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.